Welcome to Meet the Disruptors, 2 days of free online events exploring key market challenges, brought to you by Ditto, the B2B tech marketing practice. Thank you for joining our panel discussion this afternoon, Genesis in Action with RBS. Today we'll experience low-code application development in action and discuss how RBS implemented low-code application development to deliver solutions at a fraction of the time and cost of traditional development approaches. We've got a mixture of slides and animation today to take us on our journey. And please visit ditto.tv/MTD straight after this webinar ends for a digital hangout with our panel, me the moderator, and other audience members. So first, some introductions. I'm Mike Richardson, COO of Ditto, and I have the pleasure of moderating today's session. I'm joined this afternoon by Felipe Oliveira, Head of Sales and Marketing at Genesis, and Michael Henson, previous Head of Wholesale Technology at RBS. Just a little on me. I've had over 10 years experience in digital marketing, specializing in content, SEO, paid media and social media. I've been with Ditto for 2 years developing content for clients, including webinars, white papers, case studies, podcasts and video. I'm also an associate of the Chartered Institute of Marketing. So to hand over to Felipe, if you could please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Mike. First of all, thank you so much for hosting this panel. Thank you to Michael Henson as well for participating alongside myself. So a little bit about myself. I began my career many years ago working for Bloomberg in New York City, and then progressed to work the next 10 financial years on both sell-side and buy-side firms, from setting up a broker-dealer for the largest independent broker-dealer in Brazil at the time in New York, to then moving to working at a multi-billion risk arb hedge fund in various trading investment roles. It gave me the full front to back office experience of how capital market firms operate and a solid understanding of their business and technology challenges and also opportunities. At that point in time, I took a break and earned a executive MBA degree in finance, and the latter part of my career followed in the corporate sector, having worked in a few multinational businesses across commercial functions and market planning and strategy roles. That combination of technology, financial markets, and corporate experiences have given me a really well-rounded understanding of the importance of technology to drive forward performance and business transformation. At Genesis, my mission is to help our clients across financial market industry to innovate, adapt, and transform their business into using the low-code application platform. I couldn't be more excited for what's ahead. I apologize if this background is a bit repetitive for the guests who have been on the other panel.
Fantastic. Thank you, Felipe. And Michael, if you could please introduce yourself.
Hi, yes, my name's Michael Henson. I have over 20 years experience in investment banking, technology and operations. This ranges from Barclays Capital, Deutsche Bank, Standard Chartered, the London Clearing House, and most recently at RBS running their wholesale technology. In there, I've done everything from architecture functions through to running large transformation teams, and also helping to build out businesses and focus on commercial growth of different areas. So a whole range of activity within investment banking technology. And this is a great topic to discuss. End user computing, it crops up everywhere, and is a real problem, I think, in the industry. We can help to move forward. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be moderating today, and thank you for taking part in today's discussion and sharing your insights. So a note to the audience, this webinar is being recorded, and you can enter any questions you have in the GoToWebinar side panel. You'll see that on your screen. We will be stopping this session as close to 4:40 as possible, at which point we encourage you all to take part in the digital hangout taking place at ditto.tv/MTD. So to start this afternoon, I'll give a short overview of the topic. We'll then discuss the problems and challenges with the legacy world of Excel spreadsheet solutions. We'll look at how the Genesis low-code application development platform solves these issues. And next, we'll take a look at some of the real-life use cases from Genesis. There'll be time at the end for audience questions, so if you have any, please submit into the question form provided by GoToWebinar. And the panel will then sum up with one closing comment each, and we will move to the digital hangout for any further questions you may have for the panel. So today we're looking at how the Genesis low-code application development platform solves issues with legacy IT solutions. The total market for low-code development platforms will hit $2 $21.2 billion by 2022, growing at a compound annual growth rate of 40%, according to Forrester. The researcher also said that 23% of global developers reported using low-code platforms in 2018, with another 22% planning to do so in 2019. So obviously that report was from the end of last year. End-user computing, EUC solutions, also known as user-designed technology or spreadsheet solutions, are IT solutions developed for the end users and on-desk technology staff. They often use Excel or Excel embedded with Visual Basic, and they can be effective, but all too often they're solving business issues where there should be a dedicated IT solution. Sometimes these solutions will have been developed because the IT department was simply too busy or the solution in the market was just too expensive. So moving into our first section, let's start with a short video looking at the problems and challenges with the legacy world of spreadsheet solutions. Brilliant. So following that video, Michael, could you talk us through some of the common problems with spreadsheet solutions?
Yeah, so I've seen many spreadsheet solutions in my time, and whereas they can work, generally they come with a host of problems, and this has become more important over time. So there's a significant operational risk often when people are using spreadsheets to manage data. And although someone will have created it with good intentions, the lack of documentation that normally accompanies these means that people can't really see what's happening in those systems, in those spreadsheets. This leaves gaps in knowledge as people move around organizations, and there's a lack of data traceability. And that's become really important with things like FRTB, the Fundamental Review of the Trading Book, and other regulations that are out there. Without this control and real detailed understanding of what's happening, it can be very hard to prove in an audit type environment exactly what's happened. I've even seen spreadsheets out there where someone's added a macro to automatically email statements of accounts to people. Imagine if you have a bug in that, you wouldn't know what is leaving the organization. These solutions tend to have a lack of testing associated with them, and it can be a very manual level of testing. And with that, it also can accompany problems in large strategic change programs where the technology teams have built the right strategic solution, and it's only when they get into those last stages of UAT that the end users pop up and go, but you've now broken my end user spreadsheet. And trying to adjust and resolve that whilst you're running a very expensive change program can be very timely and costly to the entire organization. So all of these things contribute to a general lack of control and awareness of exactly what's happening in an organization. And they can cause significant problems. And at times they've been seen to cause operational risk and loss to organizations as well. So there are a real number of problems out there on these.
Fantastic. Felipe, could you talk us through some of the appropriate versus inappropriate uses for these spreadsheet solutions?
Sure, I can, Mike. So generally speaking, the basis for determining an appropriate use of spreadsheet solution is any simple business process where there is a low monetary cost of error. At a high level, that is kind of the overarching theme. Often these will be using Excel or embedded VBA in spreadsheets, as Michael just alluded to, and they're used to solve specific business issues. Another instance where the spreadsheet solution is appropriate is when, for example, carrying very specific targeted data analysis. So especially if it carries a low number of users or concurrent users. In these specific scenarios, there would typically not be a need for the spreadsheet to interact with any other downstream or upstream systems. So new business process that is being discovered or tested would also be suitable for spreadsheet solutions, whereas because it's not yet an adopted process, thus the spreadsheet solution can act and provide a quick and cheap tool for validation. In any instance where these overarching conditions hold true, there's a valid argument for the use of spreadsheet solutions. However, what we find occasionally is that spreadsheets are often used when not appropriate, primarily due to cost or other reasons, such as, for example, when IT departments are too busy. Let's explore a little bit the other side of the coin, but let's just recap real quickly the UC problem. Inappropriate use of spreadsheet solutions posing significant business risk and with the ability of being extremely costly. What we find is that typically the presence of these spreadsheet solutions, as Michael alluded, when they're used inappropriately in an organization, it highlights historic technology and process failings. And these, typically and rapidly also lead to control issues and all sorts of other increased risks, as Michael described. But now let's focus, let's shift gear and take a look at the other side of the argument. Alternatively to how we defined the appropriate use of spreadsheet solutions, the inappropriate use would be set for any significant business process where there is a high monetary cost of errors. This typically holds true when there are multiple concurrent users, more complex data analysis requirements, or when it's a source of key vital business data of high value to the organization, or for example, when there's integration with other systems required. Any business process where compliance requirements or high operational risks apply would be inappropriate to use spreadsheet solutions for the obvious lack of controls and audit capacity. All these conditions would warrant a technology framework to allow for a secure, real-time workflow that would automate these previously manual workflows and also enable rapid integration with the appropriate data sources. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, really in-depth answer. So just going off the back of that then to Michael, how do these inappropriate solutions arise?
So they never arise for bad reasons. So you need to remember everyone comes to work wanting to do a good job, and often technology teams are focused on strategic change, and there'll be budget limitations, capacity limitations of what a team can do. And typically then the end users will they'll become frustrated because not everything they want is getting prioritized, and frankly not everything they want can get done. So they will generate their own solution to automate what they're doing. And much as this can have some benefits, it, as we've spoken about, it does bring issues with it. But it's generally through those sort of funding gaps and prioritization calls that people are left frustrated and want to go out and create these. And I will freely admit, I've been out there in organizations and I've made end user computing. I had a case once where a commodities business was capped, and it was capped because they didn't have enough control of their positions and collateral data. And inside of 2 days, I built an end user computing that enabled them to have more transparency on that. And off the back of it, they made 10 to 20 million the following week. So it's very easy to see how these solutions can arise, because to make that sort of profit, they would have had to have waited for those 6 months of strategic solution, and that frustration and opportunity that's there allows or encourages people to create these solutions. And it is normally that lack of capacity, the lack of speed of delivery, or that lack of prioritization that leads to people creating these solutions.
Great. So now we've covered off some of the problems we're looking at. I think it'd be great if we turn to our second video, looking at how Genesis solves some of the problems. Great. So we've had a little look there at the Genesis platform, but Felipe, could you give us a short overview of the Genesis platform?
Sure, Mike, it'd be my pleasure. So let me start by stating up front, because this is very important, that not all low-code platforms are born equal. The Genesis low-code application platform is unique in the sense that it was built 100% for the purpose of servicing the needs of financial markets. As you saw in the video, it provides a complete front-to-back solution that's highly resilient, performance secure, and scalable. It also supports all the phases of the project life cycles, and takes advantage of all the applicable open source software. So what does that mean? That means that all the code and logs and are all accessible and transparent and not your typical black box. So clients can build and expand with incredible value for time and money. As a matter of fact, Genesis is a member of the FINOS, the FinTech Open Source Foundation, where we actively contribute to open innovation in financial markets. Being built for financial markets, unlike other low-code platforms, the Genesis platform already knows about financial instruments, asset classes, transaction types, and integrates with most of the leading large vendor platforms. That means we can easily plug and play to your existing technology for all the major front, middle, and back office systems. To name a few here just as examples, Bloomberg, Fidessa, Geneva, Pershing, Murex, and many more. As a Genesis platform user, you can also get rapid deployment to your technology stack with lightning fast time to market. This is a unique selling point. The Genesis platform also differs from your traditional low-cap platform solutions, as it offers more than your typical business process management, also known as BPM, and DPAs, the digital process automation, as the server side and front-end capabilities of the Genesis platform can perform more complex workflows, API integration, data links and connectivities, as well as already having all the specific financial market data libraries and business components. As you saw in the short video that we've just seen, our microservices framework also allows you to do business event handling, security, data distribution, all the things that are inherent to financial market needs. It's also noteworthy that utilizing the Genesis platform, you get the full value chain from A to Z, where we work with the client to understand their business challenges in detail, helping them from scoping the solution to building the solution to implementing the solution with no additional or hidden costs and without having any other point of contact. Our Genesis teams are incredibly experienced professionals with a deep understanding of financial markets, and the powerful combination of our team's market knowledge aligned with the Genesis platform is the mechanism that bridges the business and technology challenges and opportunities together to deliver incredible value to our customers by helping them unlock their full business potential.
Fantastic. Thank you, Felipe. So turning to Michael, could you talk us through how the Genesis platform solves the problems of end-user computing?
Yeah, so one of the big problems with end-user computing is that many of these solutions are small point solutions. And when you look at an individual end-user computing solution and try and create a business case to replace it, it can tend to be cost prohibitive. To build a set of Java from scratch that can replace the functions done by that end-user computing is quite an expensive piece of work, because you're starting with a blank piece of paper. You may have some libraries you can bring in from your organization, but effectively you're building an application from scratch. And that has many, many overheads and significant amounts of testing involved in it. Then you have to manage the resilience and stability and making sure production support can manage that. The great thing about the Genesis platform is that it's already built and it's already there. Once that's live in an organization, it already has proven stability, resilience, and it's incredibly good at that and has a really good track record in those areas. It's very straightforward for a production support team to support. And from that point, you're actually only adding minor functionality to replace these end-user computing. You're not building applications from scratch. What you're doing is building functionality within your existing Genesis platform. And it is very low levels of coding required, because that framework is all there available for you and for your developers. It becomes a rapid deployment tool to pick up those bits of functionality and becomes a very cost-effective way of removing all of these end-user computing. And the more extensive the Genesis platform becomes, the easier it is to also focus on resolving these problems in the core area, rather than fix, for example, a downstream finance end user computing. It may be that you can use Genesis upstream to just fix that flow of data at the very top of the tree, which has such a positive ripple effect throughout the organization, removing multiple touch points of data and data correction, improving your data lineage. So that low code aspect of it, and the fact you have a ready-made platform that you're just building into, is such a big step up to deliver any capability you need and start picking off and replacing these end-user computing solutions.
Great. So to turn back to Felipe, now I understand that end-user computing is only one of the 4 themes that the Genesis platform is being applied to. Could you talk us through these other themes?
Sure, Mike, I can. So just up front, though, it'd be interesting just to explain that the common denominator across any themes that the Genesis platform services is around servicing our clients' need to overcome challenges and/or seize opportunities, whether that means reducing operational cost, spreadsheet replacement, managing risks through automation of workflows, or simply scaling and growing their business. These are all things that the Genesis platform are set and built to deliver. But let's touch upon the other themes as requested. So one of the other themes that we cover is innovating alongside existing systems. This is a theme that we've been seeing actually a rising demand for in the last couple of months. A lot of the financial market players use legacy software systems and carry what we call a technology debt. This is typically where the legacy systems might be inflexible or too expensive or slow to adapt to a changing market environment or need, and simply cannot extend their functional or non-functional capabilities to the client's changing needs and pockets. As the Genesis LCAP platform is, like I mentioned before, 100% built bottom up for financial markets, we already have all the major integration components. And plus, we can build new ones whenever we come by them. So we can simply plug and play. One example that might be worth highlighting is a wealth manager that we're currently in talks with, which use a legacy system vendor for their US client base, and they only have the capability of recognizing a particular asset class for the US market, but not in international markets. We're looking to use our Genesis platform to build a user interface that would sit in front of the existing legacy system and that can do everything that the legacy system does through our APIs and connectors, plus the additional requirements of recognizing other security and instrument types. This will allow them to scale their business to international clients, unlocking business opportunity and revenue growth. And we can deliver that in weeks and months, helping accelerate their time to market. The second theme I'd like to touch upon is around improving client service and reducing operational cost. This is obviously a very popular theme as well in terms of cost reductions, and especially given what has been happening in the markets with a ever more increasing competitive nature. With all the changes that we've observed over the years in financial markets, which led to more competitive market dynamics, there's a more pressing need for operational cost reduction and relentless focus on client servicing, both to win new business, but also to maintain existing business as incumbents and competitors consistently try to evolve and stay ahead of the game. The Genesis platform allows you to accomplish that. And the way it does that is by empowering the client with direct access to the data and services that they provide. We do that by supporting both data source integration. So in other words, we connect with all the different data sources that sits within the client's technology infrastructure, and real-time data processing and delivering that securely direct to the client, whether it's cloud delivered or whichever other way that the client wants it to be. What's absolutely fantastic is that the Genesis platform can extend, it can change, adapt, and evolve with the client needs. So with minimal effort, in a way that gives you essentially a license to continuously step change your client service delivery and also continuously expand your distribution channel. And of course, the user experience into the client is fully customizable with the Genesis platform. The Genesis solution has value in longevity queues that are really hard to neglect in this constant environment that we're in. The third theme that we're quite active on as well is electronic platforms and new business startups. As I've alluded in the previous panel sections, we cater to a very wide spectrum of client types, all within the financial market space. And we've also enjoyed tremendous success in leveraging our Genesis platform to build solutions for new business startups. There's an unwavering innovation drive observed in our industry with new products and services being created, both as completely new ventures, but also as new initiatives within existing businesses. Take, for instance, the rise of outsourced trading desks, which was driven in part by regulatory changes, or for example, a need to reduce costs, or for example, electronic platforms that allows you to offer your clients new products and services. Both real life examples of where Genesis has delivered solutions for. Whatever the need, the Genesis platform gives you the flexibility to define the solutions to exactly fit your requirements and get it built in a fraction of the time of traditional builds. That is undoubtedly an area where we expect a lot more activity in the coming months.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Felipe. So now we've looked at the problem, and we've looked at some of the solutions that Genesis provides. But it'd be great in this next section to actually open it up to some use cases where the Genesis platform has replaced EUC solutions across different industries. So again, let's have a little look at a short video sort of introducing this topic. Fantastic. So off the back of that, Felipe, could you take us through the RFQ for bonds use case?
Sure can. Just to avoid any confusion, though, let me first explain that this solution, which we call AQS, is not just for bonds. It's a multi-asset class automated quoting solution, supporting both RFQs and RFSs business flows, from initial quote capture through to pricing, execution, and trade booking. The RFQ also supports manual and automated pricing models, offering connectivity to the external execution venues and integration to middle and back office applications, such as, for example, Bloomberg TOMS via real-time fixed feeds, and Persian file, for example, for straight-through processing. The AQS solution was built initially to meet the needs of wealth managers to automate their internal workflows between their bankers and their traders in fulfilling client orders for purchase and sales of financial instruments. The bankers and traders would reside in geographically different locations, and there was a need to adhere to the regulatory and compliance requirements, as well as the functional requirements driven by the business process workflow needs. There are various ways to go through a full quote cycle from the moment the RFQ ticket is submitted until it gets accepted. This would typically depend on the type of financial instrument. The RFQ specifically for bonds, which we're going to discuss now into AQS, has a cycle starting from the moment the banker enters a quote request to the acceptance of the request by the trader. There's a variety of flows in between where the trader can, for instance, enter an indicative price or a firm price for the banker, and the banker can then accept or reject. Indicative prices would typically be instances where obviously the end client would have requested such indication of pricing to the banker when, for example, he might be probing prices to feel the market before deciding whether to actually put a firm price and have a purchase or sale order. It's also important to point out that the direct access to the banker has to the traders held inventory, with bid and ask prices already specified in a trade blotter, making it seamless for the banker to offer those products to his clients and avoiding slow and manual processes that could lead to missing, market time-sensitive opportunities. So every quote entered on the internal distribution grid will populate and complete an audit trail on the grid and also track when the trader updates any value of the instrument. Once the order is then accepted by the banker, the quote requests would flow automatically through a fixed message to the order management application. So for example, as the one used previously, Bloomberg Toms, and then that flow would be complete. The trader would have the option to amend the price, and the banker would also have the option to amend commission or the spread after the trader has done his amendments as well. And all these amends would flow into the order management system. Also noteworthy to mention that, in terms of going beyond just the use case, this product also has incredible features and functionality such as sound alerts. You can have timed responses from between the banker and the trader. Everything is time-stamped, full audit trails for compliance, client suitability rules, restricted security checks for compliance once again, automated chargers based on client tier and instrument scores, there's a myriad of things that that this product can extend in terms of functional workflows, depending on the client need. It's really a fantastic solution that enables rapid business scale up with a seamless process from client to banker to trader all the way back to the client.
Great. And turning to Michael for another use case. Michael, can you discuss the Treasury Money Market TMM yield curve maintenance and distribution use case?
Yeah, so we had a problem where it wasn't just a single end user computing, we had a myriad of end user computing pieces that were being glued together by a trading desk, and there was multiple read keys of data going on. And we asked Genesis to come in and see what they could do with that. It was reasonably urgent because they had some audit issues outstanding on it. And using their platform, they rapidly created the relevant screens we needed to manage those quotes, including specific calculations around out-of-date and broken date quotes. And it removed many of those manual processes from this and gave the teams the ability to automatically track and see what was going on in a very controlled fashion. We integrated multiple downstream systems, had an automatic daily life cycle, and of course, as it's within the Genesis platform, it all came for free with secure, compliant, traceable, auditable workflow, resilient stability, which comes out of the box. So it was a complete overhaul of multiple EUCs and manual processes that we took on and rapidly delivered a solution for very successfully.
Great, thank you very much. And turning back to Felipe, lastly, could you talk us through the portfolio proposal tool use case?
Sure, Mike. The portfolio proposal tool, as the video demonstrated, is a productivity tool for wealth managers and private bankers to distribute products and also generate new investment business with their existing clients and/or prospects. It allows them to do very tailored investment portfolio recommendations per client based on the client profiles and the client needs. Whether it's a current client or potential client, the platform manages the complete workflow leading up to the portfolio proposals delivered into the client. So existing client portfolios are uploaded to Pershing files automatically, for example. The proposed portfolio will also include detailed information, including, for example, the percentage of each asset type and the total amount distributed to that client. The portfolio components can also be easily altered, where the banker can insert, for example, a component, delete undesired components to tailor that portfolio to that specific client. The banker dashboard consists of 3 status on flows, which are very user-friendly and intuitive. Essentially, it's create proposal, amend proposal, or send proposal. The proposal flow goes as pending and accepted or rejected depending on the client's response to the proposal. There are also features that allow the bankers to replicate the recommended portfolio to other counterparties within a click. It's also important to know that the platform audits all changes, present portfolios performances analytics, and provides internal management information services. The solution really empowers the wealth managers to quickly deploy investment recommendations in a compliant, secure, and safe manner, generating new business and ultimately driving value for the customer, taking full advantage of the automation, speed, and quality of the data flows for sound investment decisions.
Fantastic. Well, now it's time to, now we've covered off some use cases, it's time to turn to our audience, and I can see that we've all been busy sending in questions in the GoToWebinar side panel. So we've got about 3 or 4 minutes left. I'll just sort of do this. We've had one question that I think I'll ask here, and then we'll wrap up, and then we'll move to the digital hangout. So this one is directed at Felipe. And the question is, what are some examples of technology debt that you've overhauled for your clients?
Sure. So the example of technology debt would be, I wouldn't want to name any particular system or vendor or anything like that, because I think there's always, if they are in business and they are in use, they are fulfilling someone's needs, right? And again, just to make the point clear, that Genesis proposition is not to substitute any system, it's to work with the system and extend the functional and non-functional capabilities that those systems might provide. So one of the points around the term or the concept of technology that might be, for example, a firm which has it's a very I guess not a new firm, but like a long-lasting firm, and they have very antique systems for the purpose that obviously replacing these systems in business transformation programs are very costly and take up a lot of time. So for whatever decisions they haven't updated their technology systems and stacks, that's where Genesis can then come in and help them do the things that those technology legacy vendor systems do not do. That's one example. The other example would be where, for instance, they might have a new requirement around, they have a platform that does A, B, C, and D, but now the market has changed, there's new regulations, and they need to actually extend that to be able to do additional things. Going back to some of these legacy vendors, what you might find is that the full stack, full lines of coding will be very costly and might take a very long time. Using the Genesis LCAP platform allows you to speed that process. And because we already have all the business components, API connectors and adapters, once again, because Genesis was built 100% for financial markets, it's very easy for us to come and plug and play and help them extend those functional needs. So I don't know if that answers the question, Mike, or if you want to position more specifically.
No, I think that perfectly answers the question. I'm conscious we've got about a minute left, so I think we'll move people to the digital hangout. But firstly, I've really enjoyed this session, so thank you both. To round off, I think we'll have one closing comment from Michael and Felipe. So if there's one thing that you'd like our audience to take away from today's discussion, what would that be? And I'm going to start with Michael.
So I think the key thing is it is possible to solve end user computing. There's some great technology out there, and if you use the right platform, it can be done. And taking a marginal gains approach of just chipping away at these with that core underlying platform will make a huge difference for your organization, and you'll soon see the benefits coming through across the board.
Perfect. And turning to Felipe for your final thought.
Yeah, for me, I guess the message is more around, even for the participant who asked the question around, what is technology debt? How is that defined? And how can you solve that? I think the message for me is, we're very young, energetic, passionate business, and we have a fantastic product, which is the Genesis low-code application platform. The message I have is drop us a line. We'll be delighted to talk to you about, what technology that is, how we can help, talk about EUC solutions that we've built and helped other clients with, and we're open for business. So the message is, don't waste time. Let's step change the business requirements that you have. Let us help you. We're ready to go.
Perfect. So again, many thanks to our panel for sharing with us their insights. To find out more information about Genesis and the services they provide, or for a copy of today's slides, or to just discuss any of the topics covered, please get in touch with them on sales@genesis.global or visit genesis.global. This session has been recorded, and a link to that video will be shared via email. And again, please visit ditto.tv/MTD straight after this webinar ends for the digital hangout with our panel, me, the moderator, and the other audience members that have been listening in today. On screen now, you will see the other events we have happening for the rest of the day and all through tomorrow. But until then, just to say thank you very much for attending.